Jagad Asvapachad Vikuntha
Sadhya Punati Jagad Asvapachad Vikuntha
Punati Jagad Asvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtish Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtis Chaya Svabham Apiva Pratikona Vrittim Chindhyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim Yasyamrita Malayasha Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagad Asvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtis Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim Yasyamritamalaya Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagadashvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtish Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim Yasyamritamalaya Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagadasvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtish Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim
Yasyamritamalaya Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagadav Ashvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtis Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim
Yasyamritamalaya Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagadasvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtis Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim Vaishnavi Yasyamritamalaya Shravanavagaha Sadhya Punati Jagadashvapachad Vikuntha Soham Bhavabhya Upalabdha Sutirtha Kirtis Chindyam Svabhahum Apiva Pratikula Vrittim Yasya.
Yasya.
Of
Of whom?
Amrita.
Amrita.
Nectar.
Nectar.
Amala.
Amala.
Uncontaminated.
Uncontaminated.
Yashaha.
Yasya.
Glory.
Glory.
Shravana.
Shravana.
Hearing.
Hearing.
Avagaha.
Avagaha.
Entering into.
Entering into.
Sadhya.
Sadhya.
Immediately.
Immediately.
Punati.
Punati.
Purifies.
Purifies.
Jagat.
Jagat.
The universe.
Universe.
Ashvapachat.
Ashvapachat.
Including even the dog eaters.
Including even the dog eaters.
Vaikuntaha.
Vaikuntaha.
Without anxiety.
Without anxiety.
Saha.
Saha.
That person.
That person.
Aham.
Aham.
I am.
I am.
Bhavabhyaha.
Bhavad Biha.
The fame. I'm from you.
From you.
Upalabdha.
Upalabdha.
Obtained.
Obtained.
Sutirtha.
Sutirtha.
The best place of pilgrimage.
The best place of pilgrimage.
Kirti.
Kirtihi.
The fame.
The fame.
Chindyam.
Chindyam.
Would cut off.
Cut off.
Svāmī.
Svāmī.
My own arm.
My own arm.
Api.
Api.
Even.
Even.
Vaha.
Vaha.
Toward you.
Towards you.
Pratikula Vrittim.
Pratikula Vrittim.
Acting inimically.
Acting inimically.
So, the translation reads, anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath in hearing through the ear, the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you realize me without doubt. Therefore I will not hesitate to lop off my own arm if its conduct is found hostile to you. So we can recite collectively. Anyone in the entire world.
Anyone in the entire world.
Even down to the Chandala.
Even down to the Chandala.
Who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog.
Who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog.
Is immediately purified.
Is immediately purified.
If he takes bath in hearing.
If he takes bath in hearing.
Through the ear, the glorification of my name.
Through the ear, the glorification of my name.
Fame, etc.
Fame, etc.
Now you have realized me without doubt.
Now you have realized me without doubt.
Therefore I will not hesitate.
Therefore I will not hesitate.
To lop off my own arm.
To lop off my own arm.
If its conduct is found hostile to you.
If its conduct is found hostile to you.
So here is the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Real purification can take place in human society if its members take to Krishna consciousness. This is clearly stated in all Vedic literature. Anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness in all sincerity, even if he is not very advanced in good behavior, is purified. A devotee can be recruited from any section of human society, although it is not expected that everyone in all segments of society is well behaved. As stated in this verse, and in many places in Bhagavad Gita, even if one is not born in a Brahmana family, or even if he is born in a family of Chandalas, if he simply takes to Krishna consciousness, he is immediately purified. In the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verses 30 through 32, it is clearly stated that even though a man is not well behaved, if he simply takes to Krishna consciousness, he is understood to be a saintly person. As long as a person is in this material world, he has two different relationships in his dealings with others. One relationship pertains to the body, and the other pertains to the spirit. As far as bodily affairs or social activities are concerned, although a person is purified on the spiritual platform, it is sometimes seen that he acts in terms of his bodily relationships. If a devotee in the activities, if a devotee born in the family of a Chandala, lowest caste, is sometimes found engaged in his habitual activity, he is not to be considered a Chandala. In other words, a Vaishnava should not be evaluated in terms of his body. The Shastra states that no one should think of the deity in the temple as made of wood or stone. No one should think that a person coming from a lower caste family who has taken to Krishna consciousness is still of the same low caste. These attitudes are forbidden, because anyone who is engaged in the process of purification, if he sticks to the principle of Krishna consciousness, he will very soon be fully purified. The conclusion is that if one takes to Krishna consciousness in all seriousness, he is to be understood as already purified, and Krishna is ready to give him protection by all means. The Lord assures herein that he is ready to give protection to his devotee, even if there is a need to cut off a part of his own body. Yasyamritamalaya shravanavagaha sadya punati jagadasvapachad vikunta soham bhavabhya upalabdha sukirta kirtis chinyam sabhavam apiva pratikula vrittim. Anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of a dog, is immediately purified if he takes a bath in hearing through the ear the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you have realized me without doubt. Therefore I will not hesitate to lop off my arm if its conduct is found hostile to you. This is a very interesting segment of Śrimad Bhāgavatam. The 4 Kumaras have just cursed Jai and Vijay, and Jai and Vijay have become very afraid. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has shown up. When the Supreme Lord immediately appeared, the 4 Kumaras naturally offered prayers to him. They had not previously ever encountered the direct form of the Supreme. Previously, they had been simply followers of the Brahman, or the impersonal feature of God. That's what they were accustomed to. Though from their father, Brahma, they had heard that there was a personal feature. So they had sojourned to Vaikuntha just to see that form. And of course, when they were prevented, they became angry and cursed the 2 doorkeepers, and the Supreme Lord arrived. And after offering some prayers, the 4 Kumaras now are being told a little bit about the Supreme Lord here. So anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of a dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath and hearing through the ear the glorification of my name, fame, etc. So, this chapter 16, from 1 to 12, the Supreme Lord replies to the 4 Kumaras. So the Supreme Lord is explaining himself to the 4 Kumaras here. And the Supreme Lord is replying to the 4 Kumaras, expressing his love for his devotees. So just as the devotees try to gradually purify themselves to the stage where they feel great love and desire to serve the Supreme Lord, similarly, the Supreme Lord reciprocates that desire. He also wants to serve his devotees very thoroughly, very with even more love than they try to serve him. So, okay, that's 1 to 12. The Supreme Lord replies to the 4 Kumaras and expresses his love for his devotees. 13 through 25 is the 4 Kumaras remain submissive. 26 through 34 is the age-old musical question: who is really at fault? The 4 Kumaras for cursing Jai and Vijay, or Jai and Vijay for blocking the 4 Kumaras? That's 26 through 34. So stay tuned for the exciting revelation of the answer to that question. And then the last 3 verses, 35 through 37, Brahma's concluding words, the demigods. All right. So some interesting ideas here. Purification takes place by the process of Krishna consciousness. That's what we know. Sarvo padi vinirmuktam taparat vena nirmalam rishikesha rishikenam sevanam bhaktir uchyate. That simply by executing devotional service, one can rise above all the upadhis. So what is an upadhi? An upadhi is a designation. When you travel by air, you go and you pay your ticket, and the happy people behind the counter of the air line, they put stickers on your suitcases. And the sticker usually describes where you are now and where you are going to go. So in a similar way, when we come out of the womb, we have stickers on our body. Where we were, where we are now, where we're going to go. And so these are designations. We are not the body, and we are not our designation. We are not our race, our gender, our place of birth, our ethnicity. We are not old or young. We are simply spirit soul. However, due to the way material nature works, we are convinced by society and over our life in the world that we are this body. Others relate to us as the body, and we relate back to them as their bodies. And Krishna consciousness is the gradual process of giving up this false conception. But it dies hard. Very hard to give up this misconception. It only comes when we become progressively more and more pure, where we can actually see everyone beyond the bodily platform, that we are not these bodies, never were, never will be. Death will prove it to us, because we'll be cast out of the body. And by hearing the name, form, reputation, philosophy of the Supreme Lord, we will be able to recognize that we are not the body. So we see a gradual progression. And what I wanted to talk about today, so I'll get right to it, because time really flies, especially when we do Dhammadarastakam. So in the Madhurya Kadambini, it describes this process of gradual purification. And we find out that there is something we call Anarchas, of which there are 4 categories. These Anarchas, what is an Anarcha? It's an unwanted thing. Put more maybe succinctly in English, an Anarcha is a desire that you don't want. It's an unwanted want, which is interesting, actually, that we can want things that we don't want. So we have desires, but we can abstractly look at those desires and think, I wish I didn't have that desire. So we have a desire, and at the same time, concomitantly, we have the desire to want to be rid of that desire. So anarthas are unwanted desires, and they come in 4 types, which are described in the Madhurya Kadambini. And the first type is called duskritotama, which means desires that come as a result of sins that we've committed in the past. When a person engages in unwanted sinful action, one of the punishments of the unwanted sinful action is we get the desire to perform that sin again. And this is the process of why we get addicted to so many bad habits. It's not just heroin or, really big, horrible things like that. But so many different kinds of sinful behavior, we become habituated and we can't stop them. And we see the tendency to want to do that same wrong thing again. This is an anartha. And in particular, this is in the classification known as duskritotama, or unwanted desires due to past sin. There is sukritotama, which is unwanted desires that come to us as a result of our past pious actions. So We may have wanted to go to the heavenly planets. We may have wanted to be rich. We may have wanted to have a lot of, people looking up to us in the category of fame and reputation, et cetera, et cetera. And so we may have done material things, or may have done even various Vedic formulas to try to achieve these ends. And so we have desires now based on these material wants. And these are an impediment. So we have desires that are coming as a result of sin we've done in the past, desires we've come as a result of the pious things that we want and have done in the past. Third category of unwanted desires is aparadota. So these are, aparadota are sinful desires that come to us as a result of offenses. So this is particularly relevant here because we're talking about the offenses the four Kumaras have made. And the